Order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the March 2nd meeting. Approve the minutes from the February 2nd meeting. We had a public hearing on Redless Private Family Cemetery. That was continued to tonight. And then we had a public hearing on the Petrie lot line change that was open and closed, and then voted on the grant, resolution to grant the preliminary layout and final plat approval for the Petrie lot line alteration, which was approved. And then old business, Wingdale Solar, and a resolution to adopt a determination of significance, a positive declaration for Wingdale Solar, and that was approved. And then resolution recommending the release of performance guarantee for Double JK Ranch, which was approved. And then we had to correct something from a previous resolution on the 10 Mile River Preserve Activity Barn. And we did not have a meeting on March 16th, and then we have the meeting tonight. I'll need a motion to approve the minutes. Motion made by Member Lobadier. Second by Member Palmer. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say no. Okay, that motion passes 6-0. All right, next we have a public hearing for Redless Private Family Cemetery. Is there a representative from Redless? Come to the podium, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Kim Garrison. I am with the firm of Brandt & Lyons. We're a law firm that is dedicated solely to environmental land use and real estate law. And we represent Jason Redless, who's the owner of 209 Cricket Hill Road, LLC. And what we're seeking is a small private family burial ground located on one of Mr. Redless's property. Right now, the property is used as a hayfield, is 8.39 acres. What is being proposed is a small burial ground, approximately 40 feet by 80 feet, rectangular, simple, and it is a permitted use by a special use permit within the RU district and the AQ Aquifer Overlay District. Just a few updates from our last meeting. We made some updates on the site plan map in accordance with AKRF's memo. We added a note that references the town's Aquifer Overlay District and references the potential habitat for Indiana bat and bog turtle. We did receive the CEO's determination on whether gravestones and headstones are considered structures. What Mr. Anderson had determined was that there was no definition of headstone in the zoning law, but common definition terms included like a stone that's placed in the ground to mark the burial site. He then interpreted structures and the term building materials that's used in that definition to suggest that it's a combination of masonry, stone, metal, wood, adhesives, or like materials used to construct a structure. He then went a little bit further and said that there are some times that a headstone could be a structure, and there are some times that a headstone might not be a structure. He said if the headstone is used to mark a grave and it's of one homogeneous material, it's not considered a structure. He said that if the headstone consists of multiple building materials and requires frost depth footings, it would be considered a structure, and it may require setbacks per the planning board requirement and the zoning board of appeals. So as I mentioned in my letter, at this time, we're not proposing any particular headstones. We just mentioned that they might be proposed sometime in the future, at whichever time there might be a burial there. So what we would like to suggest is that we take Mr. Anderson's determination, use that as guidance, and we'll try to construct a headstone that wouldn't be a structure. If for some reason it's determined that Mr. Redless would like a headstone that does meet the definition of a structure, we would come back before this board and ask for whatever variances may be needed. But we would just like to use this determination as guidelines for the future whenever we know exactly what type of headstone may or would be proposed. We also asked for a consultation report from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation under the Cultural Resource Information System, or what's called CRIS, because there have been some pre-contact artifacts, archaeological sensitive areas around that area. They did provide a response on March 11th, and they said that based on the 40 by 80 foot burial area, they weren't concerned. They did just ask if, for some reason, any expansions were to be proposed, they would like to have further consultation and recommendations. I did speak to Jocelyn from Chris, and I said, you know, what we're proposing is 40 by 80 feet. If it needed to be expanded, which we're not proposing, but of course we would need to come back anyway for amended site plan, special use permit. So we would certainly be happy to ask for another report if that were to happen, but again, that's not proposed at all. I also had provided a copy of the declaration and restrictions that was requested by Ms. Polidoro at the last meeting as well. Finally, there was a comment made from one of the neighbors that Section 1401 of the state's not-for-profit law required a certain distance between dwelling units and the cemetery. At the last meeting, I had noted that this wasn't a not-for-profit corporation. I did review that section of the zone of the not-for-profit law again, though, and just to confirm again, this is not a not-for-profit corporation that's being incorporated. Cemeteries aren't required to be not-for-profit, and so we're just under local jurisdiction, which is the town of Dover. Have certain restrictions on the use. The area that we're proposing does not have those restrictions. Will the project create excessive off-premise noise, dust, odor, solid waste, glare? Cemetery is not going to be open to the public. It's not going to have any off-premises noise or dust or glare. There's no solid waste that's being produced. And we're going to be following whatever the public health laws are at the time of burial, so there will be no health concerns or odors provided whenever a burial may happen. The area will not cause significant traffic congestion. Again, this is for private family use. It's not going to be open to the public. We're not going to have visitations coming in and out all the time. It's not like it's a cemetery that's proposed with a church that might have multiple families coming or multiple, visitors. That's not the intention at all. Will be accessible to fire, police, and other emergency vehicles. This property was part of an approved subdivision in 2000, so there's an existing driveway that is already connects the property to Cricket Hill Road. It will not overload any public water, drainage, or sewer system. There's no water or sewer that's being proposed here, so there's no overload of any of that anyway. It will not materially degrade any water course and natural resource or endanger the water quality of the aquifer. We're in conformity with the Department of Health. No known wells are located within 200 feet, so we're in compliance with that. Will it be suitable for the property, considering the size, location, topography, vegetation, soils, and natural habitat, and hydrology. Much of the property, again, is to remain open and in its current state. There's no buildings that's proposed. And again, this really takes up less than 1% of the entire property. Will this property be subject to conditions of design, layout, and structures to ensure compatibility with surrounding uses? Again, there's no buildings that's proposed, and it's going to be kept relatively open. Will it be consistent with the goals of concentrating retail use in the hamlets? That's not applicable. Obviously, there's no retail use proposed. Will it affect affordable housing? Again, it's not really applicable in this situation. Does it apply with the site plan criteria? A lot of the site plans really deal with design and layout of buildings, so again, we're not proposing any buildings. We're proposing minimal disturbance in the area. It will have no greater overall off-site impacts than the full development of the property. Again, you could put a single-family home on this property. This is not as intense as a single-family home. There's not going to be much impervious surface, not a garage or a house or a driveway. So we would say that it is going to be less impactful than full development. Again, we just want to reiterate, it's a small burial ground. It's not going to be a large cemetery that's associated with the church, that's going to have visitors coming in and out all the time, that's going to have multiple burials or services. We just want a private, small resting place for Mr. Redless and his family. And, we're not asking the neighbors. I know there was some comments from the neighbors that they had to, have quiet hours or worried about wind chimes or having guests over. Of course, we're not asking for any of that. We're not asking for quiet hours. Whatever the neighbors are able to do on their property now, we want them to continue doing it on the property. We're trying to be inconspicuous. And happy to answer any questions. But we did receive Mr. Warner's memo, and I think that we've addressed most of his comments up to this point.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to go through a few things, and then we'll continue the public hearing. We did receive a memo from our attorneys regarding their thoughts on private cemetery and the applicability of the not-for-profit law and setback requirements. So I don't know if you wanted to just go through that briefly.
Yeah, so just to clarify, at previous meetings, it has been brought up by both neighbors and by the board, asking if the not-for-profit setback would be applicable. So from a purely legal standpoint, it's not applicable because it only applies to not-for-profit cemeteries. I have attached the frequently asked questions from the Department of State that specifically answers that question. This, as Kim has said, this is a private cemetery, so it's not directly applicable. However, that doesn't mean that it can't be a guidance document. So this is subject to special permit. It is a minor project, but it still has to go through the criteria. The board just doesn't have to make specific findings per se. That being said, this property is in the Aquifer Overlay District. This property, is in a residential neighborhood. This property, the neighborhood is not typically used in this manner. So the board can look to the not-for-profit law as a guidance document for setback rather than, something that's enforceable. And I did a little research on this kind of like private nuisance because Private nuisance is explicitly mentioned by the code. And again, my research said if it's something that could harm the water supply or change drainage patterns or substantially interfere with impacts of the neighbors, then maybe this could be considered a nuisance if it rose to that level. So whether or not setbacks could be applied would be a board decision. I think the most prudent thing to do is to go on site and take a look at the vegetation, take a look at how close the neighboring properties actually are, and then you can discuss potential impacts. And then I would clarify with the engineer if there's any concerns regarding groundwater or the aquifer.
Okay. Just to go to, let me just find a specific part of the memo from our attorneys. If the board looks at the middle of page 4, just above where it says private nuisance, you give all your legal thoughts here, and it says, thus, it would not be arbitrary and capricious for the Dover Planning Board to take the state's required setback for incorporated cemeteries into consideration in its review of the project.
Yes.
Like you just
But like I said,
reiterated.
it's a guide, just to clarification though, it is a guidance, so it's not something that's mandatory.
Right. The law itself does not apply to this particular situation, but can be used as guidance for this situation. Okay. Thank you for that. Any members of
And,
the-
Mr. Chair, we
Yeah.
did not receive a copy of that memo. Is that available on the Dropbox, or could we receive a?
It will be. We just received it from our attorneys.
Oh, okay, understood.
It falls under,
Well, now that it's been entered into the
Yeah.
record, yes.
I mean, I have no, I mean, again, there's
you.
nothing to hide here. I know you have it titled as
Yeah.
confidential attorney-client memorandum, but
Yeah, I also
again-
distributed it to the engineer and planner, so it
Yes.
was the intention for the board to.
Understood, thank you,
so that will be made available.
thank you.
But like I said, it's dated, well, it's actually dated tomorrow.
Because I received it after.
We received it after hours today, so it's dated for tomorrow. So, okay. Did any members of the board, just to kind of clear off some things here, any members of the board have any comments, questions regarding the SHPO memo that's up on the screen now? No. No. Okay. All right. And does any members of the board have any comments, questions about anything regarding the building inspector's memo?
No. Nope.
All right, and then this was your memo. Let's just put that over here for now. All right, the AQRF memo, Planner Werner, Attorney Britton, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think a
Planner Werner.
lot of stuff has been covered by the applicant and the attorney. If you just scroll through the memo, everything that's bold is new information, new comments from AKRF. We highlight the SHPO letter of no effect, noting that if anything changes, I think that would also include location of the cemetery plot. If they want to move it to a different spot on the site, I'm sure that would also require them
I
to
would think so.
reconsult with SHPO. Mr. Anderson's determination is in here, or interpretation. And, yeah, acknowledgement of the public comments that have been received, including the 1401 New York State not-for-profit law comments. So, nothing really new here, just restating what's already been discussed. I think the recommendation I have is to continue the public hearing, open the public hearing, and then scheduling a site walk, I think, would be important now that the snow's gone. There's a chance to get out there, take a look at this location, maybe see what can be done about screening or other issues once we take a look.
Okay. Thank you, Planner Werner. And Engineer Zerfus?
Again, the location close to the property line, when you're out there, there may need to be screening. We agree with AKRF. And the other thing is you show meets and bounds on the map, but there should also be a filed map, or filed deed with those meets and bounds in the
For the
clerk's.
cemetery?
Yeah, for the cemetery, so that way it's memorialized and.
Yeah,
Two
we were,
places.
we had talked about this with, in one of the first meetings with Ms. Polidoro. We were going to be drafting a deed which will have some deed restrictions, and that will also include the meets and bounds of the cemetery, if it's approved.
Yes, yeah, and this is something for closer
Right.
to the end of the.
Right, because I think one of the concern, or two concerns, I guess, becomes that, it could be 50 years from now before this needs to be used, and 50 years from now, people might forget exactly what was agreed upon.
Of course,
But
yeah.
then also, properties get sold and bought, and then 100 years from now, people might be like, well, wait, what is this?
And yeah, and
What-
that's.
what are we
that
buying
was the
here?
purpose-
You know.
Yeah, that was the purpose of creating a new
Yeah.
deed so that it's in the chain of title.
Right.
The new deed would include the map of this, where the proposed burial ground would be.
Okay. All right, thank you, Engineer Service. Members of the Planning Board, any questions, comments regarding anything from our consultants? Okay, before we continue with the public hearing, I think we should look at our calendars and set a site walk for this property. Does anyone have any thoughts on this Saturday or next?
This Saturday I won't be here.
Not this Saturday?
No.
Okay. Next Saturday?
I should be.
Okay. Member Palmer, member, Williams?
Depending on my work schedule, but
Okay.
typically are available.
Good, either one.
Earl Rubenstein?
All dates are bad, so might as well.
All dates are bad, okay. Can't
What time is
create an
proposed?
April 31st for you, I'm sorry. What time is proposed? What are we, 8 AM?
8 a.m. on the 18th?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine.
okay. All right. So again, what?
I'm sorry, the 18th.
Yeah, 18, okay. So again, just to be clear, this is a site walk for members of the planning board and consultants of the planning board. Does that work for you
Yeah.
or your client? or-
Yeah, I think the contact person will be Wesley Chase, the surveyor, so I'll put him in touch with, I'll give him these dates and if there's an issue, but we'll make sure that it should work fine.
Okay. All right, motion to set a site walk for Redless Cemetery. Yes.
And Mr. Chair, would you want them to stake out where the cemetery would be? To make sure it's,
That would be helpful.
yeah.
Sure, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I was just
Where
gonna
it's
ask that.
Proposed, yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Thank you.
jumped the gun.
Yes, no, thank you. So again, motion to have set a site walk for members of the planning board and consultants of the planning board. Motion made by
So moved.
member Volano, seconded by member Palmer. Discussion? So again, Saturday, April 18th, 8 AM, property site. Any further discussion?
And where are we going? Like, how do we get there? Is it going to be obvious or
It's right on Cricket Hill. It's a
209
pretty
Cricket
obvious
Hill.
sign.
209 Cricket Hill?
Any further comments, questions? Right. Seeing no further comments, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, that motion passes 6-0. Is there anything else we need to vote on with regarding this project before we continue with the public
Increase the
hearing?
escrow.
Oh, the escrow, yes.
Increase escrow.
Yes, what was the recommendation there?
I don't think we had one, but we can talk about it. The initial's been exhausted at this point.
It's down to,
A few times.
today it's down to $200,
Down to what, 200?
down to 200 as of this morning.
Yeah, I think to continue reviewing this, right, we're gonna have at least a couple more meetings, right? The site visit, attorney involvement.
There'll be legal documents post in the
Sure.
resolution.
So, I don't know, maybe just a $5,000 increase just to be safe?
Okay.
Increase to 5,000?
Motion to increase the Red List Cemetery escrow to $5,000. Motion made by
So moved.
Member Sador, seconded by
Second.
Member Villano. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. All right, let's look to continue this public hearing. Thank you. Engineer Zerfus, if you could just pass me the, it's usually Joe's job to pass me the.
Yeah, that's Joe's job. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. All right, I'll need a motion to continue the public hearing for Red List Cemetery special permit. Motion made by
So moved.
Member Williams, seconded by Member Palmer. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of continuing this public hearing, say aye. Aye. This public hearing is now reopened. All right, any members of the public wishing to speak will have 3 minutes in accordance with the rules set forth by the town board. We have 3 people who have signed up to speak, but again, after these 3 people, anyone else who'd like to speak will have their opportunity. First,
from the County Highway Department that all this property, my property on my side, all the property on that side, it used to be owned by the Brush family. And I'm not going to go into all that now, maybe another time, because I want to get to some of my points. Basically, what I wanted to say tonight was that I feel that a private family cemetery, you're changing the character of what all of us, every single neighbor here, you're changing the entire character of what we've all been used to. We bought our properties for that specific reason. There is so much harmony there right now. That word has been brought up. Yes, harmony, character, and charm. You'll probably hear that millions of times. But look at what we see right now. And I'm going to tell you personally, I'm a little weirded out that I have to know that there's going to be a cemetery, even if it's covered up. If I'm weirded out by a cemetery being close to me like that,
1 minute.
how would, if I wanted to sell my property, if the Kirks wanted to sell their property, anybody, there's 10 of us involved in this. If we want to sell our property, who's to say someone else is going to come and look? That's a little weirded out for me. No, thank you. This, there's one thing that was mentioned about the special permit use, about compatibility with the surroundings. I'm looking at the compatibility of the surroundings that are happening right now, not what it's gonna, do. Some people might say, oh, a cemetery is peace, it's serenity. But you look at the views that we have, this is the last probably one of the most beautiful pieces of property that the town of Dover has. And it's just being destroyed. That's my personal opinion, I'm sorry. It's just being destroyed. And I'm gonna mention one other thing, and there'll probably be a little backlash on it, but I was personally told this by the caretaker too. So the Redlesses, if they're there maybe 6 weekends out of a year, that's a lot. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but that property right now is up for lease. Go on horseproperties.net and you can see it's up for lease for a 6-month period or more or less, whatever they can get. All of us, the 10 people that are around this property, we're here every day of the year. So this is affecting us, and it's affecting us by the character of the property that they want to change. It's changing the harmony that we see and the serenity that we have right now. So I thank you for your time, and I will send my other things that I wanted to say to the secretary.
In writing.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have Holly Morrissey. And you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Holly Morrissey, 211 Cricket. My property shares a border with the Redless property, about 8 acres. So the attorney said that they're trying to do it as inconspicuous as possible, which I find laughable. When you have a site visit, you'll see that it's very conspicuous where they want it. I think that he has enough property on multiple lots that he could certainly find a different spot that no one has to look at but him. As Randy said, they're here less than 2 months consecutive out of the year. They're new to Dutchess County. The deed restriction that the attorney submitted, on page 2, there's a passage. It says where the intention to establish and maintain part of a general plan, any property now or hereafter subject to as part of a scenic and pastoral residential area of the highest possible quality and value to enhance and protect the value, desirability, and attractiveness, and to provide a pleasant environment to persons acquiring title to such property. And I think right there, from the Mill Seaboat restrictions, clearly states that this should not be allowed. This is not what we signed up for. This is not what was meant to be. We all work very hard on our property. It is pristine up there. Come take a ride. I'm sorry, will not be there for the site visit. So approve the cemetery, but let him put it back behind his property. He's got plenty of trees. Hide it. We don't want to see it.
1 minute.
And anyone that comes up the road will see whatever fence they put up there. It's like in the worst possible spot they could have picked. As Randy said, they have it on horse property. They also have it under Argyle Farms, renting it out as event space for 100-person events. That is not what our community is for. It's a residential property. So I had one other point. They never answered the question, and it's a minor point at this. They're going to put a sign up. They're going to put a fence up. They never answer those questions. So again, it is one of the best views. If you haven't been up there, come take a look. And this cemetery location should not be where they're suggesting. So thank you.
Ms. Morrissey, just one more thing. That was actually perfect timing. That was exactly 3 minutes. But
I'm out of here.
has that deed been shared with the town?
Yes, it was submitted by the attorney. It's on.
Yeah, I just don't know
It's
that.
on the project.
Yeah, I guess I just maybe I've missed it in going through all the
I can give it to
documents.
Marilyn if you want a convenient copy.
No, I mean, Marilyn could point to me where it is. I just didn't see that. So, okay, I just want to make sure we have it.
To me, right there,
Yeah,
you know, we have other restrictions. The house couldn't be less than 2,000 square feet, 2-acre minimum, and they're all different.
so there's a series of deed restrictions, and you're saying this is one of the deed restrictions?
Yes, and to me, that's part and parcel of what we bought
Sure.
with those deed restrictions.
Right,
And again, if you approve this cemetery, it's going to set a precedent. And there's so many other spots that Mr. Redless could have chosen for this family cemetery, that none of us need to see it. He has open deeded space in the back of the 209 lot, that, put it there. You can't put anything else there anyway, so
okay, you know, I just wanted to confirm that we, in fact, had that, and if you could just show it to me, I guess I missed it at some point.
Anything I have is up.
Yeah, no, I guess I just, must have
It's on the-
missed an email or something about it, so, okay, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Next we have Lori Kirk. You have 3 minutes.
Just gonna bullet point a few points, and as Holly and Randy was saying, all those points are really, at the end of the day, it's our community, we bought the property. Even when we bought it from Marjorie, she put everything in the deed in the stipulation, she wanted to keep that, you know, beautiful area. You know, I could see if it was only affected maybe one property owner, but there's 10 of us. And it's just negatively gonna affect a number of the homes. Feel it's unfair and unreasonable to require multiple homeowners to face financial loss if we do go to sell our property. I honestly don't wanna sell my property, but now I'm having second thoughts for doing so. And it's just, it was mentioned it only takes up 1% of the area. I think when you come out and see where that area is, I think you'll see what we're talking about and how it's very conspicuous. It's just right in practically my backyard. My property stakes are here, and then it's like 30, 40 feet maybe, not even. So, but that's okay. So again, I just want to say that I strongly oppose this project, and it's a shame that it's coming to this. So, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other members of the public wishing to speak at this public hearing for the Redless Private Family Cemetery, please come to the podium at this time. Or you just state your name and address so I could write
How you
it down.
doing? Sean Bruno, 265 Cricket Hill Road.
Sean, I'm sorry,
Bruno?
Bruno,
Yep,
what was it, 265?
265, yeah. I'm neighbors with Kevin.
You have 3 minutes.
So, he couldn't have lined it up any perfect with Kevin's back porch. You sit on Kevin's porch, you see right where it's gonna be. The lawyer keeps mentioning 1%. He's got plenty of property. Why doesn't he put it in his backyard, right? Because he doesn't want to ruin his rental. There is a water issue up there. My yard erodes all the time. I fixed it. I gave the previous property owner a right of way to put in his electric. He sold it to Redless, never fixed it. I had words with Redless. He told me to contact my lawyer, never sent me any information. So that's all I got to say.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Bruno. Okay, any other members of the public wishing to speak at this public hearing, please come to the podium at this time. All right, members of the planning board, we can close the public hearing, we can continue the public hearing, we can allow for written submission. Thoughts?
We're going to have a site visit on this, correct?
We're gonna have a site visit on the 18th.
So I would keep it open.
Keep it open until the next meeting? Until, not the next meeting, but the,
Yeah, 20th.
well, yeah, the next meeting will be the 20th, right, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it 2 days later, okay. Sure, well, if it's open, yeah, if it's still open for the public to show up to the meeting, it's still open for written comments.
May I just address some of the
Sure,
comments,
yes.
if that's okay? Just to say, I had this in my letter, and I'm sure Victoria's office and Cassandra is very familiar with this, but, with the deed restrictions, that isn't enough for a denial. The planning board really needs to look at what the zoning law says, what the special use permit says. You can't deny it based on what the deed restriction says. I don't believe the deed restrictions say what's been provided from the neighbors. I have reviewed that. I've reviewed the conservation easement. I don't see any sort of restrictions that's being presented here, but those are private matters. They're not for the board to enforce. I just want to I think Cassandra is very familiar with that in terms of.
Well, we'll take our legal advice from our.
Understood, and I would just want to point the board to that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the back of the property is with the conservation easement. The conservation easement does restrict recreational and some agricultural uses, so that would not be allowed in the back. I just want to mention that. I've mentioned that previously.
Okay.
As I said, I have spoken to Mr. Redless. His residency is not at topic here. It's a permitted use in the zone. He can have a cemetery. I'm sure if it was a church cemetery, which this isn't, but you might have people from other places coming in and out of that. That residency has nothing to do with the cemetery use. And again, I'm sure you will get advice from your legal counsel on that, but I just want to state that for the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so a motion to continue the public hearing to Monday, April 20th, 7 PM or soon thereafter, as the planning board can hear public comments.
So moved.
Made by Member Williams, seconded by
Second.
Member LaRobediere. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this public hearing is continued.
Can I just say something?
No, the public hearings, we're good for now. We're good. Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda is, old business, Wingdale Solar. So the Wingdale Solar has submitted a draft scoping document. Let me bring it up.
That's what I'm asking.
We just received this late last week, right? Yeah.
The 30th.
Yeah, it was
30th, yeah. So,
deadlines came in.
so after the deadline, but there's other deadlines.
Correct.
So once we receive a draft scoping document, we have to take action within 60 days, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So I'll let Planner Warner just kind of go over this while we're bringing it up tonight. Oh, yes, if you could, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Member Palmer.
Sure. Please out.
Okay.
All right, so just for a recap, back on March 2nd,
Yes.
the board had issued a positive declaration, adopted a positive declaration for the project, requiring the applicant to prepare a draft environmental impact statement. That DEIS, the areas that are going to be studied were set forth in the positive declaration. They were visual and aesthetic resources, noise, consistency with community plans, consistency with community character, and environmental justice / disadvantaged communities. So what the applicant has done is they've submitted what's called a draft scoping document, which is their outline of how the DEIS is going to address these topics, how it's going to be organized, how it's going to study. It sets forth a methodology for how it's going to address these particular topics for potential impacts and mitigation. Secret regulations say that once you receive, the lead agency receives a draft scoping document from the applicant, it starts a 60-day clock, within which timeframe the board has to adopt a final scope. And if you fail to do that within the 60 days, this draft scope that they submitted becomes the final scope by default. We have some comments on it. We have some, I think it needs a lot of editing. We've asked the applicant to provide the Word version of it so that we could start going through and doing some rewrite.
Right.
Along with the attorney, we'll take a look. What I think is the best approach right now is to, because it was technically received, on the 30th, I think it was, the clock has started, so tonight I recommend that we set a public scoping meeting to take place, which is more or less, it's a public hearing that allows the public and interested involved agencies to comment on the content of this draft scope and offer any recommendations or comments or, ideas about how something can be looked at. That's a common procedure for seeker.
Right.
I think we can set it for the May 4th meeting. That allows, within that 60-day timeframe, a chance from between now and then, not only us to review and comment, but the public has ample time to comment. That interested and involved agencies will get a copy of this. I drafted a notice of public scoping, which the secretary can circulate to all the interested and involved agencies with a copy of this. It also requires a publication in the ENB, the Environmental Notice Bulletin, which I can handle. That's required by the regulations. So that'll put the public on notice that this is happening. I've made the applicant aware that this is likely the outcome of tonight to be ready for a public scoping meeting on May 4th. So they'll probably have a stenographer come and make a transcript of that. We'll make sure that there's rules set forth for folks have so many minutes to speak. It's the purpose of the comments is specifically the scope, nothing more, not
Right, only what's in
like
the
the
scope.
project or not.
Or what should be in the scope.
If they want to add a traffic study, it's, that ship has sailed, right? That's
Sure.
not something that the EAF called out as something that's required here.
And given our
Right.
planning board schedule, we would need to adopt something at a meeting on May 18th.
Yeah, May 18th is your last meeting within that 60 days. I think the 60 days would expire on May 29th.
Okay.
So if we have,
So-
if we have the scoping hearing on the 4th,
Right.
you can decide to close it then, maybe leave it open for written comment. It's really up to the board.
So would it make sense then that on our meeting in 2 weeks, and that we, including the applicant, not the applicant, we, including you as our consultants, have a discussion of the document on the 20th, and
Yeah.
then have the public scoping session, the public hearing on the 4th?
Yes.
Okay. And then
Yeah, we can have some comments for the 20th. We can have them for the public hearing on the 4th.
Right.
But
But I think we need to make clear that we're opening it on the 4th, we're closing it on the 4th, because
Yeah.
we have to vote on whatever we have on the 18th.
Next meeting,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's enough time, honestly. It's like about a month from now that the public will have this, the
It's
agencies will
about
have it.
15 pages, is that what 14, 15 pages?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can certainly use the meeting on the 20th to offer some thoughts on this, but I don't think that'll be the last time.
No, no. All right, so let's set the public scoping session. We can do it now for May 4th.
Yeah, and if you want to pull up the draft notice that I
Yeah.
had put together. Project in the middle there, and then a little bit of the history and when comments can be received. So there's a placeholder at the end of that last paragraph about
The date.
like the date at which comments would be received. You can leave that there, we could set a date now, or you can maybe just delete that sentence and decide on the 4th if you want to extend the hearing or the comment period, for written comments after that. There's no requirement that you do so. You could have all the comments collected on the 4th and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I
So-
think just given the time frame that we have, I don't know that we can really go much past the 4th.
Doesn't make sense to go past it, yeah.
Right.
So we can cut that sentence out and just use the date of the meeting as like the deadline for comments, written and verbal.
Okay, so,
Yep. So this just says where to direct comments to the secretary. So I think what can be done next is Marilyn can throw this on a Dover letterhead, include a copy of the scope behind it, and circulate it to the same agencies and the same involved and interested agencies that got the positive declaration. last month.
Okay. All right. Any members of the planning board have any comments, questions regarding this? Okay. All right, so plan is that we and our consultants will discuss this on April 20th. There will be a public scoping hearing on May 4th. We will adopt a final scope on May 18th.
Yes, that should be the goal. Yep.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to set a public scoping hearing for Wingdale Solar for May 4th at 7 PM or soon thereafter, as the planning board can hear public comment. Additionally, to direct the planning board secretary to share this notice of a secret public scoping hearing for Wingdale Solar. Motion made by
So move.
Member Villano, second by
Second.
Member Lobadier. Discussion. Villano, Lobadier.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
Are we going to have anything else at that meeting, or is it going to be just for that?
We don't know. I mean, we don't know what else. We might have other stuff.
On the 20th?
Oh,
The
20th.
4th.
On the 4th?
Oh, yeah, there could be,
I mean,
just deadline is, not reached yet, right? Yeah.
The 15th, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
15th.
Yeah.
I think it's good to put it under like the public hearing section of the agenda, so it happens.
No, it'll be the first thing on the agenda, whatever else is going on, unless we're just continuing some other maybe public hearing that's really quick or something. But it'll be in the beginning part of the meeting because it's a public hearing. Just a public scoping hearing, but
Yep.
still a public hearing. Anything further? Anything else?
No.
Okay. Any further comments, questions? No? Okay, been motion seconded, no further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. So the vote is 5-0 with one recusal. All right, anything further on Wingdale Solar this evening? No? Okay. All right. Okay. So again, that will be on the agenda for the planning board to discuss. Presumably, the applicant would be here on the 20th. They created the draft scoping document. They, it's our document, but, we allow the applicant to give their input. And then the public will have their chance on May 4th. All right. Next, we're on to new business, Lake Ellis Country Inn.
Hey everyone.
Okay. Evening.
Good evening. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, I think it's been.
And you haven't gotten your haircut.
I got it in a knot this time. It's gets out of my eyes.
I don't think Member Palmer thinks that's better.
just jealous.
Listen, my dad's balding. I grow while I got it,
Sure.
All right. So here tonight to represent the applicant, Chippewa Properties Incorporated. What we have here is a adaptive reuse of an existing residential parcel. The parcel itself is pretty isolated, as you'll tell from our little square indicated on the site plan. And it also actually used to serve as a camp and country retreat prior to the applicant converting it back into a residence. So what we're proposing is the adaptive reuse of the existing main house, right here, and the existing garage to convert it into lodging units to support a country inn and conference center. The country inn and conference center will include 18 new lodging units, 12 of which will be in the main house, 6 in the lake house annex, aka converted garage. It also includes the use of existing accessory facilities that are already there, such as sports courts, maintenance garage, docks onto Lake Ellis, etc., etc. The intended use is that this will serve as a vacation resort or a vacation area, not for so much a resort, but for smaller groups, group retreats such as a corporate retreat, or potentially outdoor weddings. The new Country Inn will have a new septic system to accommodate the use in the increase in lodging units. And each of these structures will be sprinklered. Tonight, as this is the first meeting, I'm just here to kick it off, get some initial feedback from the board, and to work with the board and their consultants to schedule a site walk so we can take a look at the property. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do we want to begin with, just because just mentioned, do we want to begin with setting a sidewalk for
Sure.
April 18th at 9 a.m.?
Probably the best idea you got.
Thanks. Any discussion on that?
You said 418 again?
Yeah.
Just 9 this time?
All right, motion to set a site walk for, what are you calling this? Lake Ellis?
Lake Ellis Country Inn.
Lake Ellis Country Inn?
Sorry, would you mind if I just run that date by the applicant himself? Want to make sure he's okay with the board coming out. I can coordinate with Marilyn to just confirm.
Sure. We typically do vote on it before we go.
Okay.
So, is it something that you, as his representative, could be there if he can't make it? Or-
Sure.
Okay.
I just want to confirm.
All right, so how about we vote on that, and then you let our secretary know if that just can't happen?
Perfect.
Okay. So, motion to set the site walk for Saturday, April 18th at 9 a.m. Motion made by
So moved.
Member Sador, seconded by
Second.
Member Villano. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of setting a site walk, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion passes, 6-0. All right, so this property, let me bring this up on parcel access, just so we're more familiar where this is located. Okay, so it's at the northern end of Lake Ellis, at the end of Lake Ellis Road. So it's a town road till a little bit, like to the edge of the property, basically.
Pretty
And then it's a private road in the rest of the way.
Mhm.
Okay. This anymore? County aerial access. Okay, so. All right, so on the left, this is the property in 2024. On the right, there's a property in 2025. So some work has already begun on this property with respect to this project?
I could comment on this. So this area right here, this one's actually us. Had to dig up the existing septic system so we can verify what's out there. That's just for the health department because we knew we were going to need health department applications. The rest is the applicant's son was actually holding his own personal wedding prior to this, so he was getting it cleaned up, putting the outdoor patio space and making it nice. So that's actually why that happened ahead of time. It was more for personal use, not really to support the Country Inn.
Okay. And 18, total of 18 units?
Yep.
Okay. Pool, the septic. So has the septic already been resized to support 18 units, or it was just to see what was there and then?
Yeah, so that existing one on the right side, that's the existing septic system.
Over.
Yeah, over there. So that, if you look at that aerial, that's where we had to dig up all the laterals to see what was out there. The rest is proposed to support the actual country inn.
All right, so then this portion here is for the main house, and this portion here is for the formerly the garage?
Correct. Yep. And one thing I did want to note is that the main house will also include a kitchen for use at the country inn. It's not going to be a restaurant of any means, just a nice sized kitchen that could support whatever retreat or conference, whatever is occurring on the property.
Okay.
Hence the grease trap, so.
So the work for the garage septic has not started yet? I mean,
No, this, see, if
trees
you
were
look out
taken
here,
down?
that's just clearing because they wanted to capitalize on that view of the lake. And then you notice some of our deep tests are actually visible out there from us digging up the holes and testing the site.
Okay. So you see this is all just appropriate either for a wedding or pre-planning on...
Yeah, this was all just to have his son's wedding look as nice as it possibly could.
Understood. Okay. All right, I don't have any other comments or questions at this time. We'll go through members of the planning board, Member Sador,
Not at this time.
Connor,
Nothing.
Member Williams,
Nothing.
Member Loverdeer, Member Villano.
Not now.
Okay. Let's see. Planner Werner.
Okay. Yeah, we could start at the top. Just noting that the application meets the definition of a country inn. It's what the applicant's proposing here, which is permitted in the zone with a special use permit from the planning board. Number two, just noting that since we are converting existing space in excess of 5,000 square feet, it does meet the definition of a major project. So, and along with that, the full EAF is required, which is what the next comment is saying. And this would be subject to major project special permit standards, and also any, the site plan follows the 145-65B standards as well, which we get into a little bit later.
Sorry, what's just what's the size of the two?
I think it's in the description up top, I think.
About 7,800 square feet footprint for the existing main house and 25 for the annex.
Yeah, it's like 10,900
In total.
So we noted for the house.
Okay. Okay.
And then the garage is about 5,500. So altogether, it's over 5,000. Technically, it's
Understood. Okay.
major project criteria. Number four, noting that we're meeting 239M county referral requirements for this, which we can do at some point. I don't think the application's ready just yet. If we want to get that full EAF and some questions answered tonight, that could be a future meeting. Let's see. The ag data statement was not submitted, but just looking at the site, we're pretty far away from active farming operations, even though we're within 500 feet of the ag district. Shouldn't be an issue.
When you say 1,300 feet away from farm operations.
That was an estimate, just based on looking at the aerials.
All right. I'm curious if the farm operation is, what do you call it? Peat moss from the lake, because the lake is owned by someone in town, and I know they look to.
I think it was just the ag district falls within 500 feet. Ag District 21. I'm not sure if the lake is part of that.
Okay. I'm just, I didn't know
Double
if that might be what is seen as a farm operation within 500 feet.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure, but that's possible. Okay.
Well, we could have the applicant do an ag data statement just to disclose
Yeah, I guess
everything.
Yeah, okay, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, we just noted it wasn't included, but it's not a big deal to create it, so. Thank you. The ARB requirements are for this one, since the planning board serves as the ARB, Architectural Review Board. So if there are any, I think the exterior is what it is, they're not really changing much, but if there's if you have some elevations or even better, the interior floor plans, I think that's enough for the board to take a look at for the ARB requirements.
Could this be as simple as me providing photo elevations of the existing structure if we're not changing the facade at all?
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
And we're also good, we're having a site walk.
Yeah.
We'll see it.
Well, for the record, we can provide.
Sure, no, yes, of course.
Yeah, there's no new construction structures, so I think we just, at a minimum, the interior plans is enough. Erosion and sediment control requirements apply here as well. That's number 7. So we defer to Joe's office on that. Moving on to the site plan criteria. Yeah, just noting number 8 notes that most everything is within the RC district. If there's anything in the RU that's worth noting on the plans, just take a look at that, but it's probably not relevant.
Yeah, just to note, the RU is actually in the southern part of the property. It's off-site and in this
Okay.
wetlands. It just happens to clip the parcel, but everything else is in RC.
Everything they're doing is in RC, and they're meeting all those requirements since the property's so large, and everything's right in the middle.
Right.
So, number 9 just talks about the supplementary regs related to the country inn use. That's 145-52.2. Most of these are met. We don't have to go through each one of them, but I think we can look at G, H, and I are probably ones we can talk about now. The applicants stated that they're not planning to have events with 500 attendees or more. Whatever information can be provided about these events, the size, the number per year, what we're thinking about here. It's fine if you're not going to have more than 500, but
I mean, there would be a
require-
concern
Yeah.
of, it's a small rural town road. It's,
Right.
Yeah.
So a large event management plan is required for 500 attendees or larger. If you're saying that you're not going to have something that large, that's one thing, but, the board does have the ability to set the limits on number of attendees since it's a special permit application, so, that's also something that you did. I don't think you limited the guest number, but you limited the number of events per year on the Harlem Valley Homestead application, based on concerns there. I'm not saying we're gonna end up there, but just whatever more additional info you can provide on
Yeah.
what that.
In the revisions.
Technically, it's something that we have to know as a waiver that they're seeking. Then on lighting, I don't think anything new is proposed, but if you can provide whatever information about additional lighting you're thinking about. Downward facing, dark sky compliance preferred, obviously. The kitchen, you noted that, it seems like it's pretty far away from neighboring properties, shouldn't be an issue. We do think it's a good idea to refer this to the fire company, just given the number of people that could be there, the road going in, access, turnaround,
Right, they
all
have
that.
concerns about turnaround and.
Yep, access to all sides of the buildings, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
is the driveway, appropriate for the weight of the fire trucks, those sorts of concerns.
Yep, so that's the main focus of that comment. 10, just noting that we are in the aquifer overlay. Adding a note to the plan is usually helpful there. 11 is just, I think it gets to the issue of what's been done, what hasn't been done, which we sort of discussed so far. I think it's just make it clear what's existing, what's proposed, on all the plans, site plan and grading, utilities.
I could see a concern with potential runoff just with nearby wetlands or the lake
Mhm.
coming up.
Yeah, we'll clarify all the existing proposed.
So then number 12 goes through each of the site plan criteria, or required information for a site plan set. So we just have some comments there to make the plans more compliant with the code, including information about the trees, information about the wetlands, which we get to a little bit later too, about what we can recommend there. The existing versus proposed infrastructure, I know you pulled up the aerial comparison, I included it here as well. It sounds like the area that was cleared south of the garage was not for the septic being installed, even though it aligns pretty well with what you're showing on the plan. It's, if you're saying it's not in there, it's not there. I think we will confirm that when we go out.
Yeah, that area is actually right in here. It's too
So-
steep for the septic system.
Okay.
So again, it is more just for aesthetics.
Okay. Are there any more areas of trees to be cleared, or was that pretty much it for this site? Like,
Yeah, that's
is there
pretty
any other
much it.
disturbance proposed?
It's essentially how you can't really see here.
There were other trees cleared over here too. It's
Yeah.
Looks like it,
Well, I think that's more just the shadows shifting in the aerial, but right now, really the proposed septics are in here. These flattened areas, essentially kind of tabletops, and then descends down tabletops again. So we're really not trying to go into any of the treed areas. This is where we're putting the septics, in those flat tabletops.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you cut down some trees and there's still a root system in there, it's not great for septic, right?
where's the well? Is it designed for 18 bedrooms?
The well has sufficient water for 18 bedrooms. It's probably going to be, I don't think it hits the public water supply threshold, but it's all governed by the Dutchess County Department of Health. So they wouldn't approve it.
It does, or
It
you're
does
agreeing
need
it
it?
does not? I can't tell from your nodding.
I almost bet you it does, because I've had smaller things, because you're gonna have, at some time, you may have 25 people
Yeah,
there.
you know what, it probably is.
And they even like gas stations to have public water supply, so
Right.
I'd be very surprised in restaurants if this didn't trigger a public water supply.
Between just 18 bedrooms and a kitchen for
Right,
food for potentially
Right, I did one for, I think it was.
20, 30, 40 people.
It was
Don't
gonna
hit
be-
anything
it was
with a
gonna be
public
like-
water supply now.
It was, had like 10 rooms, and they triggered a public
triggered.
water supply, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll clarify that. Ultimately, it's all the health departments saying on that. They won't approve it without us meeting the regs.
Sure.
That has setback requirements too, right? If you're gonna propose
Yeah.
a new well, so.
Yep.
Just keep that in mind.
Is the well presently on the plan there?
I believe it's on the existing conditions plan that we submitted. Let me just double check. While I'm pulling this up, would it be possible for us to waive the requirement to identify the trees in diameter, because we're not really going ahead and disturbing any more trees? I think it'd be a little,
That can be a waiver request on the site plan.
okay, we'll just include that in our formal response.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you can request it. I mean, we're not doing anything tonight.
If you're not proposing to do any other clearing or disturbance.
Yeah. And so our well is actually up here. It's this
Where?
little dot on our site plan. So 100 feet pretty much gets us here. 200 is, again, well outside the conversion area.
That dot?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got the W in it. If you could spell it, see it.
Okay.
So then we're going to page 5, continuing the list of site plan stuff. Lighting fixtures, if anything's proposed, information there. Signage, the erosion sediment control plan that's required, if you're gonna do any landscaping, showing that on the plans. And then just a general limit of disturbance, which might just be confined to the septic areas, but you'll tell us that. Okay, 13, we're just again reiterating the floor plans for the ARB review. Number 14 talks about parking. 24 spaces are proposed, 23 are required based on the lodging use. Nothing about overflow parking for larger events. Is there any idea about where that might take place?
We'll show it on the plan. There's a sufficient space on the property that we probably can handle any amount of parking, but we'll make sure that's delineated.
Okay, 15 talks about the exterior facades, but if you want to just use photographs because nothing's changing, I think that's okay. 16, again, referring to the fire department. 17 talks about the major project special permit findings that the planning board's required to make. A lot of the time, we allow the applicant to propose a draft set of findings for the board to take a look at, so I don't see why that can't happen here. 18 talks about the health department review, and we just mentioned the water and sewer, so we'll defer to Joe's office on those specifics. And on the information about the events, yeah, a little bit more about, you know, number of events a year, maximum amount of people, and where they would park. I think that's helpful to have.
Where would you have these larger events if we can't really fit in the house?
Yeah, I think this is more, maybe it's the reception area, because there are other properties that are, we all are aware of TMR. They may have events out there, so this is more of a
Yes,
middle.
we've heard of TMR.
Yeah. So again, it's more supportive of
Kinda
other
why I was
larger
asking.
venues. Yeah. I mean, I've been in front of you guys talking about
Is
it.
there a
Like,
space
So like the bride, the groom, the family might stay here.
Right.
Everybody else stay in hotels in Route 9 or something.
Right, exactly.
and The event's at TMR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll clarify it when we
Yeah,
respond.
So there's going to be a kitchen, but is there going to be like some kind of dining space, like a large enough to have?
I mean, just the dining room to support the guests of the
Guests.
lodging. Yeah, it's not
nothing more than that.
restaurant
Not
space or
catered
any.
events or
Yeah, like
anything.
what's the most people the dining room could support?
Yeah, that I'm just gonna have to double check.
All right. I mean,
So
I
I
think
could get
like
back and respond.
Plan of Warner said, the floor plan would probably help
Yeah, that
with
could,
that.
Yeah.
that could help get there. All right, so we're,
Might be gazebo that turns into a pavilion again. That's what I was wondering about.
yeah, like, will there be, I mean,
That
so you're
never
not thinking of actually having like a wedding ceremony, like on the lake or something?
I mean, if it's small enough and the facility can handle it, that would be great because it's gorgeous out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get more of the specifics and
Okay.
include it in the revisions.
Thanks.
Okay.
So I have the seeker section at the end, just a few notes there about issues and non-issues, in my opinion. First of all, the long form, we're going to ask for that to be submitted. The applicant's familiar with that, and the mapper, so just filling it out completely. Just looking at the mapper, it does flag the rattlesnakes and some other species, golden eagle. But if we're not, proposing anything outside of this already disturbed, cleared area on the site, I don't see an issue necessarily with the species.
What's a false hop sedge?
I think it's a plant.
You don't know either?
I don't know.
Okay.
I concur. I think it's a plant as well.
Thought it was like a rabbit that
It
something.
could be.
Yeah, I mean, there's no new construction here.
All right.
It's happening, like new structures being built, significant grading. I don't know if we really need to worry about, loud noises and things like that would be disturbing to like golden eagles, for example. So, but wetlands is something that we should just get a little more info if we can. That's what section B talks about. The wetlands that are on there now are the GIS layers. It seems like you're outside of those, but, I think doing a JD would just get you a response saying yes, so maybe it's more advantageous to go out and have it delineated, especially where it's gonna be closest to the activities there. And then you'll be able to show that 100 feet, and the board will be comfortable that we're not touching that. I'm not talking about the entire site being delineated, I think just the area that's closest to the core of the site there.
Yeah, so for the board's reference, this area is the GIS wetland flag.
Mhm.
Comes up this way. Again, they'll come back and say that it is jurisdictional wetlands, but the areas that are actually wetlands, I wouldn't say they extend up this high just because of the topography. So in reality, it would be way down in the southern end of the site, further away. So
But there's a water course in there too, though, right?
yeah, so there's a stream that comes under this bridge,
Right.
and that's where that wetland GIS boundary comes
Yeah.
from. It's around that water course.
Close
So-
to the lake. And
yeah. So when it starts to flatten out, that's when the true wetlands become.
Right.
So we're very far away from any of the wetlands. And knowing how long the JD process and the delineation process is, I would say it's probably not necessary.
But I wasn't saying to go to the DEC and waiting the 3 months. I was saying just go out there, show it on the plan, have a qualified scientist just delineate the extent of the water course, if that's what's there, as the closest feature to this. Just for the board's own comfort, I don't think we need to involve DEC if we can comfortably show that we're 100 feet away from it.
Okay.
But there still needs to be the new 90-day DEC
That's,
thing.
yeah, I've heard from colleagues too that, that DEC's been telling consultants that if you can confirm there's a wetland there already and, or not a wetland there, you don't need to go through that JD process of waiting 90 days for them to say, yes, you have a wetland, just looking at the aerial photo. I think we're pretty clear that they're here, like any.
Right.
So in that case, I think skipping directly to just delineating it for the lead agency's own information, is fine. And I think we're gonna be fine with, we're not disturbing those areas or the buffers, so. And then we're just down to a couple more issues, just traffic and noise. It has been the board's practice for something like this, just to request at least at a minimum, just a scenario-based trip generation estimate, just utilizing the ITE's standard rates. I think we could use, like a hotel rate or some comparable lodging rate, just to kind of illustrate what we're thinking of as far as peak hour trips to the property. There's really only one way in. The road is not that great, it's narrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that it's a
narrow
typical rural.
I don't think we're talking about 100 peak hour vehicles, which is what, typically requires a detailed traffic study. I think we just want to get a sense of, what can be expected on a Saturday peak hour.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a sizable event if you had 100.
Yeah,
peak
that's
hour.
why
Yeah,
it's
that
a
would be a
scenario-based, with event, without event type of breakdown, if that's something that can be done. Just to
There,
talk about. it.
potentially could also be a concern of noise with just noise traveling across the lake. And
Yep, that's what I say in that second paragraph there too.
Right.
There's other camps in the area, there's been, when we had Camp Vermont, Camp Berkshire come before this board, his neighbors came out and
Right,
and
there was
complained about
noise concern.
noise traveling across the lake. Just something to think about, when it comes to how many people are gonna be here, how often, and what types of events. Loud, outdoor music, things like that, is important to know. Lastly, we have, there's an archaeological flag, as well here, and the applicant noted in the EAF, that the site's located outside of the archaeological sensitivity area. I can't confirm that. I mean, that's something that's not really publicly known. It's only certain professionals have access to that information in the system, but, I think if we're not doing any ground disturbance here beyond the septic areas, an area that's pretty much been disturbed already, it's been built for residential use, it's probably not necessary to consult with SHPO about archaeology here. My colleague, that's an archaeologist, took a look at the area, and it seems like most of the finds were further south. But you know, if the board wants to, just to be thorough, to have them do a SHPO submission, it takes 30 days to get a response. They'll look at the area that this is proposed and they'll provide comments.
Yeah, so just to touch base on that, our report actually included a snippet of the CRIS map. And so that archaeological sensitive area seems to be associated with Rama.
Yeah.
And if you look on the map, you'll actually see our buildings well outside of the area. So just something to.
It shows the what's called the blur, the blob.
The
if you will.
blob.
But the actual, like, the recorded archaeological sites aren't publicly accessible because they're sensitive. So,
Sure.
but yeah, that's consistent with what my colleague shared, that a lot of it was Camp Rama, having some fines. So, again, the area here is, you know, it's been built on, there's been already disturbance for septic systems and, you know, general residential disturbance over the years. So, if they're not proposing to do much else besides putting in the septic close to the house, is probably not worth a consult. So,
Yeah, and those areas that are proposed to be disturbed, they have been completely, my favorite word is terraformed, doesn't apply because it's earth. But because they're landscaped out, right, any sort of archaeological artifact that could have been there is probably removed.
Right.
So I think it's more.
And again, what you're saying is, this wasn't done, that.
Yeah, this happened
wasn't
well in
done
the
a year
past.
ago, this was done.
Decades
a long time
ago, yeah.
But maybe back when it was
Yeah.
some other kind of camp or.
and the house isn't flagged as a historic structure either in the system, so it's like unlikely that we're dealing with anything significant here.
Okay.
So I left it up to the board, but it's not really our recommendation to go through that process.
Okay.
So what we do recommend is doing a site visit. So it sounds like we're looking at
Already
the
set that up.
18th. Probably increasing the escrow on this just for the amount of information that we're asking for and the continued review from all the consultants. So I think increasing it to a base of 10,000 for now is appropriate. Yeah, and then we'll wait for some responses before we take the next steps on like circulating and stuff like that, so.
Would it be possible to circulate it tonight for those referrals? I know we have a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot, but essentially the project's not changing. It's more of, we have to do the paperwork behind it. So I think it would be nice to get those referrals out there, to get those comments and incorporate anything they may say into our revisions.
I mean, I don't see any other, well, it's not a coordinated review for seeker, I don't believe. It'll be, it's an unlisted action as well. So it's not really a seeker circulation issue, it's the county circulation would be what we decide upon. And I think, I mean, the application is not, we don't think it's fully complete because it's not including the full EAF, but if the board wants to submit what has been submitted to the county for their 239M, it just won't have the full EAF.
I mean, you still need to fill out the long form EAF. I mean, if that.
Yeah. It's usually this board's practice to have a
Yeah.
complete app before we circulate it.
Additionally, the county comments on things like lighting and parking and landscaping. So there's no lighting, there's no landscaping, and I think, I mean, my literal comment was you can't have more, like, your parking is exactly for like a very small number of guests. So if you're going to have a parking overflow area, and that's something I think the county will comment on. So showing it in advance, I think, would be fruitful.
Yeah, at least a designated area, like you said, just,
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it needs to be another parking lot,
Yeah,
but
no,
just
I
like a
agree.
grass.
A grass
this is,
overflow. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that the county's probably going to say matter for local concern on this.
Yeah.
So
they-
that's
they
why it
likely
would be
will,
nice to
but
get it out there.
I understand.
have
It'd be
comments.
helpful to have.
Yeah, I
you know,
think
the
they'll still
long
have
form to-
comments even with a matter of local concern. I think it'll be a matter of local concern
With
with
comments,
comments.
yeah.
They will, yeah. So having the most up-to-date set for them to look at is probably best.
I mean, so when's the, give me a second.
And same with the courtesy referral to the fire department. Show where your parking is, and then the fire department can comment on the turnaround into.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the deadline is April 15th for the May 4th meeting, if you wanted to get things done
Okay.
in that time frame. Then on the May 4th meeting, we could make the referrals.
Okay.
Planner Warner, anything further?
No, That's it.
Okay, thank you. Engineer Zimmer.
It looks like you'll probably need a Chapter 65, at least for building that one field. I'm looking at the size of the septic tanks. It looks like the fields will support over 1,000 gallons a day, which means that Speedies is required.
Yeah, I believe what we have, they're designed for 2,200 gallons per day. Yeah, so that's in our report. They had us, based on a typical 12-hour operating day, at 3.2 gallons per minute.
That's the well.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the septic. So you're probably going to need a Speedies for the septic discharge. So I don't know if circulation then will include DEC, which in case that starts to bring in the JD and everything else, if that's required. Your well-
So I'm just, sorry to interrupt. Was your point that, I mean, if the well is generating 2,200 gallons in 12 hours, then the septic will be accepting 2,200 gallons in
Yeah,
12
the,
hours? So-
the health department makes us pick a rate for this because
Sure.
it's a little unique.
Right.
Because this isn't going to be like a daily flow rate.
Right, because there could be nothing for a week.
Exactly.
or
So they
something.
wanted more of a general
Like a
number
peak
for
kinda.
us to design off of.
All right. Okay, so,
Okay,
yeah.
but that's going to
But
have,
yeah,
the health
it does-
department's
is
going
gonna
to
need the
decide, but I'm
Speedies. Yeah,
looking at
right.
the size of the septic
Sure.
tank says there's going to be 1,000 gallons at least one day,
Right.
and that's going to probably trigger the Speedies.
Yeah, I'll confirm with
And-
Rich on this. He's the engineer behind the DOH submissions, but yeah, I'll confirm and I'll get back to the board.
And then if that triggers the Speedies, then that starts to trigger everything else at the DEC.
Sure, sure.
And then you said the well, you probably will need a public water supply. And if you're going to have a sprinkler, unless that's a really, really good well, you probably need storage tanks,
Storage
which are going to have to be shown on the,
Yeah, I'm assuming
You'll
they're
have to-
baked into the actual building itself, but again, I will confirm and
you'll
get
have to
back.
confirm by how much you need, because
Right.
the 5,000 gallon storage tanks, or 10,000, well, 10 or 20 is probably what you may need for fire. It's not going to fit in the building. So those are details you need to work out, not that I need the answers now.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm assuming those tanks will be underground, just.
Right,
but
they
again,
will,
we'll
but
show
they
you
still have
where
to
it
show them
is.
on the.
Yeah.
And they also, it creates disturbance. And the one field, I guess, is existing, the other field, but you might be pushing the acre.
Yeah, that
Which will
acre
need us-
threshold.
So that's another DEC.
Yeah, the
I mean,
switch.
that'll get combined in with the other Speedies.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near that acre, but again,
No, but-
we'll verify and
Verify it.
get back to you.
Is it, with the one field being existing, that may not get disturbed, so that might throw it under, but with the two fields,
Right.
it'd probably be close.
Okay.
We do agree on the traffic with the planner. What I'm curious about is any overlap with any other large event thing in the area. If all of a sudden people are coming here and people are going to Camp Rama and people are going to other camps, will that be an impact of,
Potentially. I mean, I do believe Camp Rama, they usually go up on the other side of Camp Rama, if I believe.
okay,
There is access from Lake Ellis
They
Road
go-
to
they
Camp
go-
Rama,
They go the other way.
but
They
it's,
go-
I think that's like,
They go up Reagan's Mill, hang a left on Berkshire, right on Wheel, whatever, and out that way for Rama.
yeah. Like, this is I think Lake Ellis is kind of like the back entrance to to Camp Rama.
okay.
Yeah, this would wind around Dogtail
Well,
Corner. and
yeah.
out
I mean,
that way. Hang on to
It,
Lake
I mean,
Ellis.
it potentially adds just additional traffic to Weil Road if people went that way to get to your property.
That'd be-
Additional with the other,
And Berkshire, right?
potentially, that's what I'm saying, you know, it kinda-
Berkshire-
it depends
Berkshire's
on
still
what
on
their
Berkshire
app
Road.
tells them to do,
So-
you know? If they're coming from
Yeah.
north on 22, it might send them right over Weil Road and.
Might just
with
send 'em-
the other-
Yeah, whatever the Google overlord.
I was saying,
sends them
that's what I'm
down,
saying. It
yeah.
might be as simple as if you're coming from north of here, might send you on Weil Road. If you're coming from south of here, it might send you up,
Dogtail.
Dogtail.
Yeah.
It's, okay.
Or if you're
Something-
even further north, it'll put you on Berkshire through the seasonal part.
Right, it might,
which is open now, right? Are we
open
allowed
now.
back there?
It's open.
yeah, that's true.
That was-
So, yeah, it's a potential concern. I mean, it's not like.
Yeah.
It's a potential for the cumulative, like with everything else going on a Saturday or something.
Yeah. For seeker though, I don't think we should be assessing the impact of Rama, right? This is more for our project on this, and if Rama wants to alter or change anything.
Well, we would have to talk with our consultants. I mean, because they're existing, like.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And they're using the other entrance as well, so.
Sure.
It usually comes down to, like, known applications and things like that, and if there's like, what's the build year of this project, and is there anything else happening that's gonna is gonna be done first or come after this?
Right.
We don't have any known changes happening at either of the camps, so, at this point, there's nothing else, there's no, like, no action condition, right?
Sure.
That we can consider here, but, I know Camp Ramah has come in for like, they have discussed like some kind of master plan amendment, but then they never did it. Like, it was a
Right.
while ago.
I don't think anyone's saying it's a concern. We're saying it's a possible.
Yeah.
It's possible it's a concern.
Let's see what the trip generation numbers look like that they show us based on the 18 rooms and then the occasional events. And we can take a look at access and see if there's potential areas that we want to focus on for getting to all the different destinations here.
Right. Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything further?
will there be a caretaker on site?
Yeah, the caretaker residence still proposed, so no
Okay.
change.
No change.
There's two residences there, right?
Yeah, there's a
on the-
caretaker residence, and then there's another one right here, which I believe is also a caretaker. Yeah, another caretaker residence.
Okay.
Big property.
Sure. Okay. All right, nothing further then? No? Okay, thank you. Attorney Britton?
Yeah, the only, the planner, basically covered all my comments. The only thing that I'll add is, I would like for in order to craft or know the need to craft correct conditions, an event narrative would be helpful. So not just, we might have a 200-person event, but something like we would host 200-person events and we would not heat up food in the kitchen and we would have you know what I mean? Like, because there's different requirements if you're going to actually make food in a kitchen for 200 people versus heating up food in a separate location that's come up in other projects. So I think some kind of narrative of how an event would work, and then that would also help assess the parking need.
Okay.
So a little more specific than just
Yeah,
like a number.
we'll get into a little bit of the weeds on.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a
proposed
crazy, and I think you should just do worse, the biggest event you could possibly hold.
event. Yeah, we'll do a worst case scenario.
Right, that wouldn't be something I think you need to do in the next 9 days, but yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so what
At some point.
I'll shoot for just getting as many revisions as done, and then the EAF, and that should be.
Yeah, it sounds like the priority one is a long form EAF.
Yep.
That we have to look at
Yep.
for the May 4th
And then
meeting.
Plan change, additional information on the plans that the county would be
Right.
wanting to look at, and then that, we could probably do that circulation next time.
Okay, that's perfect.
Attorney Britton, anything further?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Or as a planning board, anything further, comments, questions based on our consultants? No?
Not this
Okay.
time.
All right, so the only other thing I think was to vote on raising the escrow to $10,000. Motion to raise the escrow to $10,000 made by
So moved.
Sador, seconded by
Member Williams.
Member Williams. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That passes, the motion passes 6-0.
Is that an additional 10, or is that to bring
The
it up
total
to
of 10.
10,000?
Up to.
Okay,
Total of 10.
we'll work together and figure out
Yeah.
what that number is then.
10.
And,
Yeah, well, the number that we need to write on the check.
Okay.
and also the fees that came in were for a minor project, and now it's a major project, so there would be additional
So you
fees.
just have to,
Okay.
you just have to adjust that. That's,
Huh?
we don't have to vote on that, but yeah, you have to
No,
adjust
no,
that.
no, I'm
Yeah.
just letting him know, so,
Yeah, we'll fork up.
Okay. Thank you, Peter.
All right, anything further regarding this application? All right, so we're expecting that you will submit by April 15th for the May 4th meeting. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get the long EAF in for sure, and whatever plan revisions we can get. Again, there might be some stuff that's a little delayed, but we'll get the important stuff out there that's needed for circulation.
Yes.
Or reference, yeah, or referral.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. And then I will confirm the April 18th. It should be fine, but I just want to give them a call and talk to them and make sure.
Yeah, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Okay, so our next scheduled meeting is April 20th. The deadline for that has passed. At that meeting,
That'd be a marathon meeting.
why don't you,
We have the public hearing for Redless.
yes,
We have Wingdall Solar.
yes,
We have not him.
not him,
We have Sherman Hill Development amended,
yes.
and we have Double JK accessory apartment.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's April 20th. And then the deadline is April 15th for the May 4th meeting. And as of right now, we have public scoping hearing for Wingdale Solar and most likely Lake Ellis Country Inn.
Probably.
And maybe some other stuff. So, all right. Any further business before the planning board? Secretary Van Millen, we did, so what we talked about was that we had to raise the escrow. We did that. Was that it? That was it? Was that the only thing we discussed? I'm just outside of the meeting. I'm trying to remember. Was there anything else we discussed, like that had to be brought up?
Not that I can
Not that
remember.
you remember. Yeah, same. Okay.
Not that I want to remember.
All right. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Seconded by
Second.
Member Sador. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.